am so glad you're here. Welcome to another edition of Leaders with Leverage. I'm your host, Susie Tomanchuk. I'm really excited today. I feel like I'm always excited. And you know why? It's because I have amazing people in my network. And this is not any exception to that rule. This is a good friend of mine, Annette Walter. Annette is an experienced business strategist, and she has a rock star background. She runs, owns, and is CEO of Timber Industries and iEvolve Consulting. Timber Industries is a national 100% owned lumber supply and commercial construction firm. They have pallets, wood, new and used. I've learned a lot from her since knowing her, that they sell to big organizations all around the world. And I know their revenues are in the multi-millions. Her iEvolve consulting practice works with leaders and teams to help them be better and scale their companies into the multi-millions. She lives in Baltimore with her husband and best friend, Sean, who also works in the business. And she is also a mother of two boys, Wyatt, who's 9, and Jameson, who's 8. She's a great friend of mine, an amazing business owner and strategist. And I think you will just love this conversation. So here we go. Here's our episode with Annette Walter. So excited to welcome my good friend, Annette Walter. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm interested today because you and I have been friends for some time and have a lot of mutual respect as business owners. And I'm just excited to talk about your story and how you got where you are today. So tell me, first of all, tell the audience about you and what you want them to know.
Okay, wonderful. So thank you so much for having me. I am a big fan of you just all around, Susie. Love everything about you. And my name is Annette Walter. I am the owner and CEO of Timber Industries and iEvolve Consulting. Timber Industries is the top 100% woman-owned pallet companies in the US, along with a local representation of millwork and carpentry. And then iEvolve is a business consulting and coaching platform. So I have a lot to talk about on various different levels. It just depends on which way you want to take it.
Oh, now you have me all curious. We're going to have to go all those places. Well, what is on your mind? What comes to mind when you want to talk about your journey and how you got where you are today?
Well, I really just want to communicate to your audience because your audience is incredible. They are talking about leverage and negotiation, and they are growing on their journey. They are evolving, which happens to be one of my favorite words, within their professional world. So what does that mean to them and how do you do that? And the one word that comes to mind for me is your foundation. Okay. So just to rewind a little bit back to my professional foundation, I started in the corporate world, like many of your audience members here. And I actually started in banking. And oftentimes we don't take enough time to really reflect on our journey, or sometimes, the negative moments might pop out before the positive moments, but reflecting on your journey and really knowing that the purpose of your path and everything meant something and everything served a true reason to where you are now is just something that I think is so important, whether it was something you learned or a person that you met in your network. The foundation is really the most important part. And thankfully mine was in banking. And that really helped me parallel into being the entrepreneur that I am today.
Oh, I love that so much. That I think about it in a similar way as you do, is that everything that you've learned along the way applies somehow to now or in the future. And so then in those moments when you're like, ugh, why? If you can have that thinking, that mindset, that sets you up for understanding that's all an investment in your future self.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. And it was interesting. I was reading your book the other day, And it's interesting how you read something and then like 5 different things will happen around what you're focusing on or what you're reading, right? So as I was reading your book and I was scaling to a new level over at Timber Industries, we just launched 2 new divisions here locally in the DC Baltimore metro area. And what really hit me was the power of asking and the power of asking and crafting and really looking at things with a perspective to come at it with an approach that really is a great solution for everybody. And people stress out a lot about quote unquote selling or, feeling salesy, whatever. But if they read your book with that lens of it's just leveraging, like you are really, really, truly helping other people become better in what they're doing, it just is a great situation for all. And that's how I've always built my companies is like, look, I'm here to make you look like a rock star. I'm here to help you. And if I can't be the one to do that, or my team isn't, the right team to help you do that, then that's okay. Just find it somewhere. Just find it somewhere. And I guess it's that relationship building, that perspective that really is the approach. And that's what hit me as I was reading your book.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you. And it is just that curiosity, when we have this curiosity to learn more and we uncover things that might be interests that are really important to the other party and you're serving them. Like it's not a leverage against, it's a leverage for. That's so interesting. So I want to go back to your journey, and you were in banking and then you now have multiple successful companies. So if I'm listening to this and I'm like, oh, I'd love to do that. People think, well, did you wake up one day and you're in banking? You're like, okay, I'm done with this. This was good. I'm just going to start a new company. And day 2 comes and you're like, okay, good. Now I'm a business owner. How does that transition happen?
Well, I was born and raised by an entrepreneur. So I think, first of all, it's in my blood because I don't know any different dinner table talk, growing up. But back in 2007, I was working with a gentleman and he and we were partners at the time. And we had read a book called The Blue Ocean Strategy. And the Blue Ocean Strategy basically talks about disruption in business and doing things differently. It takes the example of Cirque du Soleil taking the circus and making it the same but different. It talks about Southwest taking, Greyhound's bus route and making it the same but different. Okay. So at the time, his father was in real estate and his brother was in the title business. And we knew that the residential real estate side of things wasn't effective. It was, you'd talk to this person and find the house. You talk to this person and you get the financing. And then you talk to this random person and end up in this like weird office closing, right, on this house. So we really wanted to take the real estate concept and put it all under one roof. And we did just that in 2007. We took a major leap, invested in 18,000 square feet of space here with 35 people on day 1. And this is in January of 2007.
Wow.
Okay. We did not have a crystal ball at the time. Okay. So we had the concept of having everything under one roof, real estate agents and, finance and title company all mixing and having lunch together, all enjoying each other. We did everything by the book. We hired the best RESPA, Real Estate Services Protection Act, lawyer and attorney in Maryland. So, cause you had to design each space differently, all under one roof, like all that behind the scenes. And we made it happen. And then the economy took a huge hit. And we had 8 partners. I was the only female, youngest. I was 30 at the time. And I was in charge of running all of the related companies. So I was actual chief operating officer of the umbrella company and all of the related companies. We were building the infrastructure, outgrowing it, building it, outgrowing it. And in a down market, here is what happens. People make moves. People will shift. People will try and find, the grass greener on the other side. They aren't so busy, so they can think about a move, right? So we grew that company to 300 people.
Wow.
Also, what happened in the down market, was location became available at a very more affordable price. So we grew to 17 locations, and then we quickly grew to 20 million in revenue, and we were hanging on by a thread. Okay, so my role was growing the company, growing the infrastructure, cash flow management, but then also figuring out when this market was going to turn, when the housing market was going to come back, which they stopped making the parts for the crystal ball at that time. Okay, so we didn't know if it was going to be 2015, 2016. We were just hoping, right?
Yeah.
So at this point, we were also talking to suitors and investors behind the scenes because we needed a backup plan. We needed a survival plan. So mergers and acquisitions, all of that stuff. So all of this time, we're growing, we're acquiring people, we're acquiring locations, we're acquiring little like mini, companies that are coming in and folding their companies into us because they can't even survive, right? And we actually struck a deal in 2012 and sold it to Prudential, and they needed our footprint because they were preparing to sell to Berkshire Hathaway.
Wow.
So everything that we grew, we ended up selling to Prudential. Prudential quickly turned it over and sold to Berkshire Hathaway. So that was, part of my journey. That was part of it. All while having my kids, my two beautiful boys. I was literally in the hospital, giving birth to Jameson, signing the sale docs. It was that type of moment, right? And now, fast forward, I bought Timber Industries back in 2013. My business coach, I've always worked with a business coach since 2009. My business coach had introduced me to the company, and I did due diligence on it for about a year. And in the midst of me doing my due diligence, actually people started asking me to coach them to help them build their companies to 20 million. And I said, sure, let's do it. Let's go. I got this. I can grow people. I can grow companies. This is what I love to do. It just was almost second nature to me, right? Doesn't everybody think this way? Get this stuff?
Yeah.
So, but they don't. I thought they did. I thought everybody felt like this, but you know how that goes. We all think that everybody knows our area of expertise, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So fast forward to today, and I have these two amazing companies with amazing people doing amazing things, and a wonderful real estate portfolio that we've grown to supplement it. And the best part are my boys are the best part. And, I get to work with my husband, and it's just, you just get to kind of make up your own story,
It's so amazing, I guess. And you can tell the way you were telling the story it is in your blood. It was something that was instilled in you really early on. And because you work with business owners, I guess if I am a person that didn't come from that upbringing, what are the mindset things that people need to do that? Because there's a desire to do something on your own and follow your passion, but there's the fear of what you don't know. Mm-hmm. And the courage that you need to make that step. So what are the biggest mindset kind of blocks that you think that the people that you coach have to overcome?
Well, when it comes to mindset, I remind people that you have to know your core values, your personal core values, and what rings true for you. What really motivates you? Because you could read a mindset book here, a mindset book here, tons of different things. It's just like with weight loss. You could practice fasting, and then you could practice keto over here. You could do all of this, right? You're going to try them all out. None of them will work, and then you'll get frustrated. What you have to do, though, is do what really rings true for you. So my simple thing is that I always pick 3 words. 3 is my lucky number. I love 3. And so I always go to 3 words. And I pick the 3 words that always ring true to me, okay? That anytime I'm having those moments of doubt, fear, anxiety, exhaustion, overwhelm, whatever you want to call it, right? Today, I think I have spilled everything I've touched today. I don't know what you call that, a cluster bomb. I have no idea, okay? So I'm what? You can't do anything right today. What's going on with you, right? So I remind myself of my 3 words, okay? And my 3 words are tenacity, all right? I love that word. It's just you got to keep on going. You have to be tenacious. You have to just to me, it means be resourceful, figure it out, just keep on going, right? Everything. I don't know the Webster Dictionary by heart, but that's what it means to me. The other one is integrity. Okay. integrity. I believe in who I am as a person, and I trust and know that I will always make the right decision for me and my family and my team and my company. Okay. So tenacity, integrity, and the rest is courage. Okay. So courage to step into the unknown, courage to step. I'm not going to know the right answer. I'm not going to know the right answer. I'm not. Okay. And I'm talking like right now, we're scaling timber to 50 million and beyond. I've done 20 million. I've done 25 million. Done, done, done. Check, check, check. All right. But now going to that $50 million mark, and then that $100 million mark, like I want to put zeros on things. So to put zeros on things, I've got to really be courageous to learn things that I don't know yet.
Oh my gosh, that is so good. Everybody could use that. Your 3 words that in that moment, man, that is powerful. So I wrote down 3 as you were talking: brave, drive, and love. And I'm going to try that. I'm going to do that just because we have to find, I read something recently that said, it's just like you said earlier, things land sometimes in that right moment. And I can't remember who it was that said it, but we often wait for our courage and our confidence before we move forward. But really, it's the reverse of that. You have to move forward in order to gain your confidence. Right. And that reminds me, in those moments when we're feeling like we have self-doubt, what better person to get you and stand you back up than yourself? And having 3 words, it's kind of like taking from your past self to help you in the current moment, so that you can move toward the future. Oh, that's so good for anybody.
Lizzie, I love your 3 words. They're perfect.
Yeah, they're very aligned with yours, which I'm not surprised because we're very much alike. Yeah. Always. So what has been your secret? Like, what are the things that, maybe tell us, what was a moment where you really had to make that tough decision, or share something about, what was that change? What was that, maybe that moment that really made a difference that catapulted yourself or your business forward?
Okay. A moment vividly flashed into my mind. It was a moment, I'd say it was probably maybe 2000, October 2008. It was probably August 2009. Okay. And I, at the time, had 7 partners, and I was in charge of the operations of the business, and they all were contributing partners, and we had a capital call. Okay. Capital call is when you need to raise cash to keep the company going, right? Well, a lot of the partners didn't like that, and we had to make payroll. So I put in, I think it was about $37,000 that month to make payroll, personally. And at that moment, I thought, oh my goodness, is nobody taking this as seriously as I am? And I also thought to myself, I know I can do this. I will figure this out, and I will never have a business partner ever again in my life. I still love them all dearly. We're all still friends dearly. But in that moment of knowing what was really important to me, standing behind my integrity, my tenacity, and my courage, I knew that I had to do whatever it took at that moment, and that I had to move forward past it, and then figure out how to get this company kind of wrapped up tight, and then move on to the next thing. That we would weather the market, we would get through the market, and that there's always going to be good times and bad times. Anybody can run a business when it's like, a great economy. Like, good job, high five. But like, it's when you really learn and show up in your business and figure things out and truly, truly learn is in those different kinds of markets, right? And that's where the opportunity is, and you really learn and grow so much about yourself. So people seem scared going into, whatever's ahead. Like, there's always going to be something ahead. And even like if we think something's in the near future, right? COVID, hello, whose radar was that on?
Exactly.
Nobody. So like, you can't live in that. So that's the moment that really sticks out at me. And I don't even think I realized how big of a moment that was at the time. I was just like, oh, okay, we got to make payroll. Like, let's go. But then after the fact, like, I was like, why? How come I was the only one that did that? Like, wait a minute, hold on. Right? Like, I have the growing family here, So I think it was like, okay, you had that personal, like, internal conversation, like, this doesn't feel right. So that's when we sold the company, I had the offer to stay or take my chips off the table. And that's when I was like, you know what? I'm never having a business partner ever again in my life. Even my husband isn't my business partner. Like, he works in the business, right? And I say that with so much love. And if he were right here, he'd say, I'm not even her business partner, like, okay. But that's what kind of strikes me, is just that moment.
Yeah, people will listen to this, Annette, and they'll think, wow, I want to embody her tenacity, her courage, as you say. And it's about that, really not having that fear. That abundance mindset is so important, but also having the courage to make those really critical things that you believe in.
Well, and trusting yourself that you are smart enough to figure it out. Okay.
Yeah.
We are all adults. Like, we are smart enough to figure it out. And if not, like, there's resources, there's Google, there's YouTube. I mean, I know that sounds silly, but like, I could figure out how to, like, I don't know, skin a fish right now if I wanted to. Like, I don't know how to do that, but I could figure it out, right? That's a bad example.
Exactly.
Really bad example.
That's exactly.
It paints the picture fully.
It just shows that you just say whatever pops into your mind, that's good. And you never know what that's going to be.
Right.
It's variety should be your fourth word.
Oh, dear.
Variety. So when you think about somebody hearing your story and being like, gosh, I'm just not her. I just don't embody that same tenacity and courage. What was your third word? Tenacity, courage, and integrity. Well, gosh, I can't believe I didn't remember that one. That's so obvious. What would you tell them? What is the first step? What are the first two things? The first two things that they need to do? Like, what do they need to do right now to follow their dream?
Absolutely. Number one, you don't have to be anybody else but yourself. That's the easy part. You get to be you. Okay. And number two is you have to stay focused on what's important to you. What's your mission? Okay. Nobody else is going to make it happen for you. You will go through a learning mode in your career or in the infant stages of your business, wherever you are. Okay. You're going to go through the learning career, and you need to only pick up the things that really truly apply to your core values and your mission. Okay. Because everything else will be a distraction. You do not want to pick up a pot of gold and that distract you from really truly building your empire. Okay. And oftentimes we'll do that. We'll say, oh my goodness, well, I could make $1 million selling these glasses. Well, I'm not going to sell these glasses if what I'm really trying to do is help entrepreneurs grow businesses so that they can sell millions of glasses, right? So don't trip over that pot of gold, that distraction, whatever it is, and let it interrupt your true path to what you're building for your family, for your team, for yourself. So those are my two things.
That was so good. I love it. You are so good. All right, let's move on to our leverage questions.
Okay.
Because it's all about leverage, in everything that we do, So as a leader, how have you positively used leverage in your role?
Oh, Susie, I think that the thing that comes to mind when you say that is we rise by lifting others. I love that quote. I know it's out there. I don't know who said it, but it's out there. But, I always look at leverage as, you have to grow your people, and you have to always, you want people to become better versions of themselves. So to me, that's what leverage is. If I am coming to you and saying, look, I can do this, and it will help you do something even better, right? So I always see leverage. I don't know. What's going through my head sometimes is that seesaw on the playground. Like, you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. Like, I think of that, but really, I think leverage is just the ability to rise while picking others up and rise while we lift others.
Yeah, I love that. And even when you said that, it made me think, as a leader, what a great visual to understand what somebody needs to kind of get them back in balance, or what can you do to increase their leverage by investment in themselves. That is so good. How do you define leverage as a strategy for anticipating challenges that you move into?
Well, I always think that you have to be open-minded, okay? And you have to have that perspective. Information gives you perspective. More information gives you that knowledge and that perspective. So the best thing that you can do when with leverage, in thinking about leverage, is to get as much information as you can and be as open-minded as you can, okay? Automatically, we are wired to go to to be emotionally triggered, right? But if you gain that perspective through gathering information, and you gather information through asking really good clarifying questions, okay? That's all you have to do. It's that simple. Ask good questions, right? Yes. Steven Schwartzman, okay, founder of Blackstone. He is phenomenal at that. He would keep his cool and keep his calm. And this is when he's like, orchestrating huge deals, like, taking Tropicana public, right? He would, and this is in the heat of the moment, like stuff happening overnight. You're pulling like 48 hours, like total corporate world, right? He would keep his calm. And he would gather information, ask questions, and then he'd call the really good, trusted resources around him to make a decision. And then he would present it to the client and lead the client, just kind of guide the client to make their best decision.
Yes. It's uncovering it. It's actually expanding the pie. It's uncovering other opportunities that are interests on either side so that you can help both sides maneuver into the place you want them to go. All it does is it increases our ability to be creative and thoughtful and collaborative.
Absolutely. Very well said.
So good. So good. All right. Any final story, if it's related to leverage or a business deal, that comes to mind for you that somebody used it in a really powerful way?
Oh, I just think it's fun. Like the art of crafting deals is fun. Like, make it fun, like right now I have 2 companies in mind and I've been thinking about them and I'm just going to, put it out there. I'm going to send an email. I don't know if they're interested in selling or not, but it's literally on my to-do list today is to send out these emails and say, look, I want to work with you, but I would rather work in a relationship where it's kind of an acquisition and this type of thing. Is that something you'd be interested in? If they say no, they say no. It's not the right thing on my path. So I just say, make the art of the deal, the art of the leverage, the art of the negotiation, all of that, just make it fun and make it work for you. All you have to be is what you are already and what you want to be, where you're going.
Oh, that's so good. I'm reading right now the book about Pixar selling to Disney, and Steve Jobs has all these cons on the list, but they want to do the deal. So it doesn't always matter. There can be passion in leverage.
Absolutely.
There can be passion in just the desire.
Yep.
So good for you. Just put it out there, right? Move that first step along.
Absolutely. Well, I won't know until I ask.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Annette, thank you so much for giving us so much wisdom today around your journey and how you work with individuals. How can people get to know you or follow you?
Absolutely. So I have a fun following on Instagram at iEvolve Daily. I also have a podcast, the Entrepreneur Evolution podcast, where I interview entrepreneurs in their journey and drop an express tip of 5 minutes or less. And then I've got a big presence on LinkedIn. I know a lot of your people are on LinkedIn. It's Annette Walter on LinkedIn, and I'm here to help. Honestly, anything that anybody wants to go through, process, if they want to set up some time, you can just find me on my website at iEvolve Consulting or email me at yourock@iEvolveconsulting.com, and that's about it.
Oh, that says it all. You rock. You rock, Annette. There's something about just being in your presence that just lifts me up. So thank you so much for taking your time today, and make sure you look and you connect with Annette. She is an unbelievable business owner and amazing coach. So thanks so much for your time today, Annette.
Awesome. Thank you, Susie. Cheers to you and cheers to your audience.
Thank you. Have a good one.